Welcome to Philly Coco Presents Side Project Spotlight, episode 46. This is a developer's journey into making cool stuff. I'm Kotaro.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are Philly Coco, a Philadelphia-based Coco Heads community focused on Apple development that primarily, but not exclusively, means iOS, Mac, tvOS, watchOS, and visionOS development. Philly Coco's true desire is to take you higher on your own developer journey. Whew. All right.
Did it.
I did it all in one take, even though we always only do it in one take because we're too lazy to go to redo that one. So
yeah,
we keep it messy.
We do. But
you know,
what are we talking about
today?
This week?
Today we're talking about visionOS primarily, but in terms of how our own developer journeys are going. For the most part, I think we kind of wanted to. Last time we kind of left it off as we were just beginning the journey for each of us, trying to download the new Xcode beta 2, and at the time was 2, and now 3.
I know.
And just sort of explore the world a little bit, kind of download and try out 4 of Apple's provided sample code, which are all relatively good until beta 3 came out and completely wrecked majority of them.
Yeah, so that's been fun. So of the three of us, I'm probably the one who has had the least experience with these apps because I was trying to run them for the first time on beta 3, and they're all broken, all incredibly broken. So we started this journey. We're like walking down the path. We're starting to gain a little steam, and then we immediately get tripped up because like Apple puts some fallen tree branch in front of us.
But that's typical of like the beta cycle for Apple in general. Like anytime, there's always going to be that one beta build that just breaks everything. And this is the one. It happened last year. It happened the year before.
Let's talk about it. So beta 2 was working for you guys, and I didn't have a chance. I had it installed. I didn't have a chance to actually use it because it was like the 4th of July weekend last weekend, and like that holiday. And then I was doing like the podcast editing and that week, and then so by the time I got to it, this last week, like beta 3 came out, and so I installed beta 3, and I go to open. I download all the projects. I'm all excited. I open them up. I'm like, I want to shoot some happy beams and stuff. Actually, that's the one that actually runs. Doesn't work for me, but it like actually doesn't crash completely. So I'm in there and I'm like, oh look, there's this cool video one. I'm gonna look at that one. What's the other ones? We have like the video destination one. We have a Hello World one, Happy Beam, and
Diorama.
And Diorama, and 3 of the 4 of them won't even compile.
I should get context for each of those and why they exist. So the Hello World one is actually a really good app that introduces all the key experiences that Apple, that visionOS UI can provide in terms of like the 3 different states of like the window state, state. There's also a volume state, and then there's a sort of what they call spaces. I think I messed up last time. I called it immersive, but it was kind of like spaces, which is kind of like puts you in sort of a more VR experience, or and allows you to, kind of work in much more a 3D environment. So you can work more in the 3D space. It's still a little confusing because the in and of itself has like 3 states. Whereas one is like pure AR mode, one is like what they call like a progressive mode, and then one is like full immersion mode.
Yeah.
And so the interesting thing about Hello World is like it's basically a demo app that shows you like you can see different things about the Earth, the Moon, and a satellite that floats around it, and then like you can kind of progressively go into from one window pane that just shows you just some meta information about Earth, and then the next one is like it'll show you like a combination of like the window pane and the 3D objects, and you can kind of rotate and manipulate the 3D objects like the Earth and the Moon. And then the other part of it is like, okay, now we go into full immersion mode. You can kind of see an example of you in space, basically virtually, and that you can navigate between the Earth, the Moon, and to some degree the Sun. So that gives
don't fly too close to the sun, though.
Yeah. We should add some kind of
mechanic
add that. Where,
like
the closer you get to the sun, like there's like a filter that just shows you slowly burning and then
melting.
and then the thing crashes. And to be fair, to be sort of extra meta about it, like your fan is
Icarus.
really your fan is really
creative.
Your fan is like like if you're on an Intel based Mac, your fan is blasting full steam. That's the one thing that I forgot that this is.
I got an M1 Max. This stuff is still it still takes a minute to compile.
Yeah, I mean, even just the fan kicking in on this environment is a reminder for me. Like you're now in kind of like a game development experience where you are, if you even open up the preview, it's going to kick in because it's like you're simulating a 3D space. And that's kind of what the simulator is a 3D space. They have to sort of simulate a real world environment. And so they use a lot of different relatively high res 3D environments for you to explore and sort of like test your ideas out on in the simulator.
They have like these really nice upper middle class living room, kitchen.
Sure. And light and dark mode, a nice fancy modern museum.
Oh, museum, yeah. It's like a museum. I like the museum one, but I've been hanging out in the living room. It's a nice, comfortable place. It's more comfortable in my living room, so.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, one of the things I saw on Twitter was like if you go down, like you can actually go below the surface of your.
I did that accidentally. I clipped to the floor.
They even have like the rug with a little bit of like a wrinkle on it.
Really?
That's how like detailed they were like all about.
Yeah, I did no clip through the floor, and I was like waiting to see if I was like in the, what is that place called? We knew the back rooms. I was looking around. There was no back rooms. So I no clip, so.
It definitely it definitely like breaks the fourth wall the moment you click out of the scene.
So I mean, I was using my Pro controller here from Nintendo, and it's it's a little sensitive. I'm like, whoa. I'm just moving a little too fast. I couldn't quite. Some of the controls are just not quite intuitive.
I hope they do it so that you can at least when you press any of the buttons, they basically replicate like a click.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
I mean, they do it kind of to like navigate, but like you can't use it to like you have to still use your mouse to like click on something.
That's probably why I couldn't shoot my happy beams.
No. Oh, that's a good point. There's supposed to be support for the game controller with happy beams, but
that's what I picked. I couldn't get it to work. Any buttons didn't do anything. But so that's Hello World, right? So introducing you to windows, volumes, and spaces, and then we just briefly mentioned happy beams. I guess you could talk about happy beams.
Happy beams is kind of like using the immersive mode, but also it teaches you how to.
It's like mixed immersive. Like you're still in the space.
Yeah, you're still in the space, but the thing is like it allows you to use ARKit to figure out the positions of your hands basically, and more importantly your index of your hands. So the way it sort of calculates basically the game is about you taking your hands to form a heart shape, like those Japanese idols or those K-pop idols, and then firing the beam at like these gray clouds to turn them into happy clouds. Basically like you're firing Care Bear beams at these sad clouds.
How are you supposed to do the hand thing in simulator?
So the thing is, like, they have a placeholder for that, which is basically like this 3D robotic version of your hand beam. That is, I
see like a gun. I see like a heart gun or something.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
How do you use it? Because I couldn't get it to work.
You're supposed to like be able to like point it and have it aim like with your mouse.
I was kind of aiming, but I couldn't get it to like fire. A couple times something fired, and I didn't know how I got it to work.
So in beta 3, it takes a while for the beam to actually kick in. I don't know if it's because
it's great for a game where you have like things flying at you.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It just take a while.
Yeah, like it's very clear. I mean, these aren't particularly well optimized in that sense, where the assets aren't preloaded very, very. At least it doesn't feel like they're preloaded.
I mean, the apps generally crash once before I even get them. Like even that one, I think crashed once before I got it running.
So Diorama one definitely crashes for me. Now I tested it on an Intel based Mac, so that might be the reason.
Yeah, visionOS is not designed for Intel. The Intel era is over. It's time to buy a MacBook Air.
Tell that to the JOBs.
Use your own computer then to do this.
Well, that's what I do. Yeah, when I'm home. The thing that I do, I mean, I have one at home, so but I don't like to sort of mix my work and home.
No, you definitely should not mix your work and your personal stuff. I'm saying if you're just going to mess around with the demo apps, you can choose which one to do it on. And
rest assured, that's the only reason why it works for me. I don't know about you, Aaron. I don't know if you've messed around with any of these sample apps.
Yeah, not too much. I was trying to get the example from, I think the session was called Meet ARKit for Spatial Computing, and I thought they had like a demo app with it, but it was just like there's a bunch of code that they show and that you can like. So yeah, and I tried to get that working, but it immediately ran into a thing where there's like a function that's in the documentation, it's in the demo video, but it's not. Xcode doesn't seem to recognize it. It's like one of the core functions for like recognizing or like creating like a physics.
Right. You're talking about the one with the Jenga kind of style.
Where they like stack up a bunch of cubes and then knock them over with your hand using hand tracking. But it's like I know the hand tracking isn't going to work yet because we don't have hardware. But I thought I could at least like test it in the virtual environment without that and just like see things. But there's one of these functions and it's like it's in the documentation, but like Xcode says it doesn't exist.
I mean, do you check release notes for Xcode? They have all kinds of.
I didn't see anything about it. There was like nothing else.
It's early beta days.
But yeah, so I was like, maybe they'll fix that in the next beta. So
I was a little confused because I did see that. I was like, I kept thinking, it's like, what is the physics engine, or how do you apply the physics engine in RealityKit?
Yeah, so you have to use ARKit if you want to like interact with stuff in the real world.
Okay.
So you have to like add a physics body, and you can add like physics body stuff and collision components and things like that in RealityKit.
Right.
But
I remember them
if you want to
collision
interact
detection
with the real world, then you have to use like ARKit stuff to recognize objects and then add 3D entities with physics components so they can interact with each other.
So Aaron, what about building the world's greatest virtual train set? You just attach it to just floating in space, whatever. It can just be this giant train set, and then you can you could have it connect through a portal into your friend's train
that would be
set.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know if that would work, but that would be awesome.
That would actually be quite. You can have it like one of those like train tunnels, right, on the wall, and then have it like you do this little thing where you like create the tracks with your fingers, and then you say, okay, like I don't know, press a play button, and then it will like the train will go to Aaron's room plan space.
Yeah, there's a sci-fi book series where they use trains and that go through wormholes. So
oh my god, that'd be great for an app. That'd be great for an app. That book should just be I mean, there might be a whole new genre of like books as AR experiences coming in the future.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Like, how would you? In what context would you propose that idea as?
I'm thinking the Diorama app. I think would be a good starting point to look at that. But like a book, illustrating the moments in a book as one of the objects,
or even just like the thing really of where that's like a very detailed world that's different.
Yeah, exactly.
From ours, and they have like a whole, like I was reading a book like that, and it had a whole map, but it's like you have to go find the map and like look things up, and it's like if it just popped up to the side of your book.
And you can already do this with like ARKit. You can already look at a page on a book and have trained it to recognize a page and give you like an AR thing. So why not? You can do it for visionOS.
What's funny? I just remembered. That reminds me. So there's a game that came out recently, Final Fantasy 16.
Oh my god, how many Final Fantasies are there? Are they ever going to actually be the Final Fantasy?
Well, the whole point is like pretty much they're all the final in their own world.
Oh,
except
geez.
X2. But anyway.
X2. Okay.
Remember Final Fantasy 10 and then they had like X2 was like
it was 10 and then it was
into like
X2, not 10 2?
Yeah, something like that.
Wouldn't that be 12? But that's a different
well, there was 12 and then there was like subsections
X2,
of 12. No, a subsection of 13.
We'll be here all day if we try to figure out Final Fantasy namings.
All right, forget that for a second. Final Fantasy 16 has this mechanic where like you can be in an environment, like you could be talking to people, right, in the game, but you know, like any Final Fantasy or role playing experience, sometimes you have all these like unique worlds and unique names, and you have a hard time remembering the context of like all these stories, right? Because they're like world lore, you know, they have their own lore and all that stuff. So you can press a special button that will bring up a summary that provides all the context of everything that's being talked about at that moment. So if you forgot about this character or that character, they bring you up like, oh, this character, this person has this, and this is their backstory. It's like, or this is a map of where you're talking about. Yeah,
it's like if you're old enough to remember Encarta or like one of those encyclopedias, but you're just bringing it up.
Yeah. So in that sense,
Wikipedia entry for the young people.
Yes, but in that sense, like you don't have to go look at your phone or something like that. You can just do it in game. So in this case, right, like if you're reading a book, very similar kind of mechanic where you can say like there's a help section or like some context section that you press and like you'll open up a 3D map of that space or that situation, or like even
diorama.
A diorama, yeah. Which actually is kind of interesting. That diorama actually is a 3D like map. That you can do a dial that will like dynamically shift from one map to another. It's just an example of like how you can use the shader graph to really accentuate the levels of the terrain and the textures of the 3D space, as well as the morphing between the two. So that the diorama example is a really good example of how you can really, and it has like spatial sound in it. So you have like birds flying in the space and clouds, so particle effects in there. So you can really explore like in a volume kind of experience. So it's really good for situations where you want to create a 3D, so like a self-contained 3D environment that you don't have to do too much interaction with, but you want to get a better sense of its world.
Yeah, I was hoping to try that one out, but it also crashed. So.
Yeah, same here.
So wait, what's the last one? We have Hello World, Happy Beam, Diorama,
and Destination Video.
And that's the other one that I wanted to look at.
Destination Video is actually a really good example of it's basically Apple's version of like a multi-platform. It's their food truck of this version for visionOS. visionOS, if you want to think of it. And when I speak of that, I speak of it as pure like if you're building a multi-platform, quote unquote multi-platform or multi-targeted app, this is how you would build. This is how Apple would suggest you build it.
And that's actually what I'm probably most interested in the early days of this potential market in a multi-platform app. Yeah. Like having something that's useful, and then you bring in some kind of visionOS stuff.
So if you tested that on beta 3, it would actually work fine in iPhone and iPad. It's just the moment you try to test it on visionOS, it's like everything breaks with the Mac. It's like I don't macros within it anyway.
What does it do though? It's a video playback.
Yeah, that's also a good example of how you can do playback video. And it's actually even doing it with as a streaming app. So it's all the assets are streamed remotely on Apple's servers. It's also a good example of like integrating SharePlay, even though I'm not entirely sure. Like it's one of the key ones to that and Happy Beam, where SharePlay is an integral part of the experience. Not an integral part, but like a key part of like learning how to use it. And I know that Apple is very keen on SharePlay experience as a part of visionOS. I think that like that's what they're telegraphing.
I'm very curious about the SharePlay stuff. I haven't found a lot on it. I mean, like I have to look at the official documentation, I guess. But I feel like it's still geared towards your friend group, like not anonymous groupings, or is that Because what I wanted to do is I wanted like an anonymous grouping of people to be able to easily create a group to share between like an experience, but I don't know if that really works.
I don't think that's the point of it. If that makes it's like it's at least for now, it's not meant to be like
I'll just call them temporary
like
friends.
kind of thing.
They're my temporary friends.
That's true.
Come on, Apple.
Well, you can share it with people who are your quote unquote like I assume you all have to have like an Apple ID to be able to use SharePlay, aka they're trying to iMessage this thing.
There's with the idea of being able to like use the like the I don't know what they call it, but the bring the phones together to do the SharePlay stuff.
Yeah,
I wonder, is like, can you do that with like a group of people? Can we all just like put our phones like our swords in a circle, like we're getting ready to go on an adventure, and we just put our swords in like SharePlay start? But I doubt that works that well.
Yes, actually, kind of. There is a way so that you can create an experience within SharePlay that will define like a shared space.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then you can do something where it's hard to tell whether or not, though, like, for example, it makes sense for like a card game, right? Yeah. So let's say we're all have a round table. They're using a metaphor almost like a round table in a sense.
Which I was too with the swords.
Right. So we know positionally where we are in relations to this round table, right? But let's say we're playing a card game or like a Yu-Gi-Oh game or let's say poker or blackjack as a very clear example of like we play that and you can do this virtually. So it's still, if we all have a Vision Pro goggle, we can all see each other virtually, at least our cards in the same space and relative to each other in this shared space. So I don't know how it defines the source of, like, I assume like whoever initiates the space is the one that sort of defines the sort of like the spatial relationship of like who's where. Like if you're on my left and you're on my right, that's defined, and then that's managed by the person who actually starts the shared space.
I was looking at it for like people in a physical space together. Like, how is it? Is it easy? Can you create like an ad hoc grouping, and is it easy enough to get started? Like to get everybody.
Supposedly, with the new iOS 17 stuff, you can just it says you can just bring your device.
I mean,
together.
yeah, I'm like, how how fast can I do this? So this is one of the things where I'm gonna need to like probably buy some devices and just some cheap devices to test it.
Well, at least in visionOS, there is a special spot. There's like a tab bar on the side of just the app. Like if you go into like the home screen, so to speak, of that space, there's a tab bar on the left side where it says, okay, it's 3 categories. One is all your apps. Another one is at the bottom, like changing the environment. That doesn't work yet for me. But then the other one is one called Peoples or something like that, where I think it's your saved group of friends that you can like probably tap eventually to like create to start a shared experience. I think that's where they're going with that.
That sounds like Apple.
Yeah. Again, like I haven't explored the simulator long enough or well enough to know for sure how to utilize that.
Well,
so
basically, the long and short of it is right now we have Hello World, Happy Beam, Diorama, and Destination Video, and they're all basically broken in some way, if not totally and completely, in Beta 3. But don't worry, if you read the release notes of Beta 3. If you read the release notes for Beta 3, they give you a workaround. They tell you use Beta 2. So have fun filling up your hard drive.
If you haven't deleted it yet.
Yeah, I deleted it because I, don't want to use up hundreds of gigs of space for stuff. But, whatever. I'll just download it. Or
actually,
again.
you know what you could do? You can download this. You can download this app. I think you can get it from GitHub. Called Xcodes, plural.
Yeah, that's what I have. I use Xcodes, plural.
Will allow you to install. I don't know if uninstall, but definitely install
it does that too.
Different versions of Xcode through their app, and that's free. So a lot of people I know use it and love it.
Yeah, I do it. It's the only way you can manage
that gravy chain yet.
Oh, what are you doing? Downloading it manually from Apple?
Yeah, I know.
It's way faster to download through Xcodes. Xcodes. I'll put a link in the show notes if I can remember where it is. Xcodes.
Codes with an S, not a Z.
Yeah, I don't know what that app would be. But yeah, so you're gonna need to have something to. You're gonna have 2 betas installed right now if you want to run the stuff. I'm gonna re-download beta 2 and see if this stuff works. I guess literally deleted it, downloaded, installed beta 3, and opened up the apps. And I was like, just should not have gotten ahead of myself with the deletion.
So, Aaron, aside from that other bit of work, is there any other revelations that you've come across with visionOS?
No, I don't know if this is news to anybody else, but I saw the thing on the developer website for it's like the section where it's like work with Apple, where they'll like test your app and stuff, and they have the info about dev kits and stuff, and it says, I think it says coming in July, which so I don't know when that got updated, but so it seems like all that stuff is going to be out this month some point, which is like the next 3 weeks, which I don't know when the dev kits will actually ship, but I'm guessing they're saying they're actually going to open the application for dev kits this month. So,
I mean, that's true, but it's kind of funny because I feel like it would be such a curated, I guess, because it's basically if I upload it to TestFlight, right? Or something like that, where I would figure out a way, somewhere there would be a feature to say, hey, Apple, can you review this, basically, and see how well it works. Is that what, is that?
Yeah, and I think they're also going to have some like spaces where in different cities where they're actually going to have the hardware.
Oh, the physical lab. Yeah.
Did they add any East Coast cities? Or are we still just like
not
what is the aversion to the East Coast?
London.
London. Let's take a plane and go like hours of London.
It's just a couple hours.
More than a couple hours. I mean, I saw that when they originally announced it, they had all these cities. They're like, what? Why are you skipping the entire half?
One of the media capitals of the world. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? Like, at least New York City, I would understand. Like, have one in New York at least, or I'm not saying come to Philadelphia.
They're only allowed to have one per country, apparently. So.
Yeah, apparently. So they're like, let's do it where it's convenient in California.
Well, yeah,
that's fascinating. Well, wait, why?
It's a big.
I don't know why, but that's how they have it set up right now. Just like they have 6, I think, and there's only like 1 in each country. Yeah.
I mean, that kind of checks out. Plus, I guess if for whatever reason, like they have to be very, they have to make sure that from a security standpoint, like.
My God.
They're going to have to like lock it down like, pretty hardcore, right? In that sense.
Remember when that iPhone got accidentally left in a bar and then was talked about? It was a huge thing. And imagine if that happened with visionOS. It's like someone just accidentally left a visionOS in a bar and someone took it home and like, where'd you get that? I found it.
I mean, I'm sure nobody's going
shipping dev kits soon, so it's not like
what is it? I mean, the dev kit we assume is going to be the actual like.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be some kind of close to final prototype.
Yeah, because they have to make it. Because the hardware is so crazy that I imagine, especially the screens, that manufacturing that stuff is really hard.
That must be. But the thing is, like that, something like that would have to be NDA to hell, right? Because they would not want anybody posting this on Twitter or Thread or whatever the hot new, social media thing is, or because like I can see like. A big corporation like they definitely would want a streaming service or one of those anything where somebody's sitting down on a couch, but it's a big company. Let's say like a Disney or some company like that. They would want them to be able to test their apps on, and they would give them hardware, but they probably wouldn't give indie Joe Schmo the hardware, right? Like. They would look at probably like even like I don't know, like Get Slopes, the Slopes app, and go, you've won some design awards. You've been good to us. We like you, but you're probably not our target market, right?
Oh, you don't think they're assuming that you're gonna wear this thing out on the slopes, skiing and snowboarding?
No, they're scared that you will.
Oh, yeah, they're scared you will.
No, I think the whole thing is that it's. There was like there's like a pretty small radius. It's like 5 feet or something. Like if you step outside that, then it basically fades out all the virtual content.
1.5 meters or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I know. I saw someone on Twitter or one of these. All these social media networks blur in my mind. But one of those places where they post little bits of text and stuff was complaining about this as from it was saying, "Oh, this is awful because I can't do full game experiences or something." And I'm like, okay, I don't know. But
you're not running around a warehouse with stuff like continuously displayed.
Yeah. Look,
like once you stop and localize, then
I think the criticism I saw was that the other headsets that are more game focused, you can set your own perimeter manually, and I was like, and it could be bigger for your space for doing a game or something. I was like, okay, well, for one thing, that is not very Apple-y. Apple is probably not going to be like, hey, create your own space by like staring at your floor and standing in a circle or something. That doesn't seem like something they're going to do. But also, they're probably starting out really conservatively. I would not be surprised if you could extend it at some point. People freak out so much about something that's not even out yet. Chill, guys. But thirdly, I would rather Apple, be on the side of helping me not trip over my coffee table and hurt myself or break my television or something by falling head first, visionOS headset first into my TV or something, and then destroy two pieces of the gadgets. So you know what? Yes. I'm okay with it being conservative first. But I do understand that at some point, if it does interfere with like a VR gaming, that would be an issue. 1.5 meters is not a lot of space if you're moving around.
Here's the thing about VR gaming that I think.
I don't think it's going to be. I think AR gaming is big. It's going to be big.
I mean, I'm not one or two ways about either, to be honest, in terms of like whether I'm pro those. I think one of the challenges with VR is that you get motion sickness very quickly if you're like moving, especially if you're like, it's very disorienting in a lot of ways of like, if you're, one of the reasons why they make you teleport to all these places, because if you move virtually in that space, but you're not actually physically moving, it enhances that sort of like nausea.
That's why the holodecks have in Star Trek they use force fields. You can't see me, but I'm using air quotes because Star Trek logic to like move on the ground underneath you, so you feel like you're moving.
Right. Like so, or like you can't move at like rapid speeds where like you're running and you're
Wait, I can't do a VR game where I'm the Flash?
You can get one of those ridiculous treadmills.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, guys, do you remember that scene from Hackers?
Yes.
Where he's like standing in the little ring thing, and he's like,
I remind myself of that theme every time somebody's like, "Yeah, I'm all for VR gaming." I'm like, "Yeah, no, this is what I look like outside. I look ridiculous."
But
and I know somebody's gonna take a picture, or watch it, or worst case, watch a video, because people do it. People are so rude in that sense of like, it's like there's no an ass. They're just like, take a video of you looking stupid, doing your little thing, and then they post it on whatever social media of choices, Instagram or whatever, and be like, look at this guy, what a stupid little boy. It's just like, oh, sir, you just.
I mean, I think when I see videos like that, I think, well, that guy's having fun. Like, why are you making fun of the guy for having fun? Like, F you, man.
I know, but like in the sense of like knowing that, like that's going to stop a lot of people from doing that in public.
My friends would definitely do that to me, and that would be okay if they did that to me because we're friends and we're gonna do that. But
even if my friends did that to me, I'd be a little bit miffed about it. To be honest.
I'd laugh at it. I'd be like, that's pretty funny. But you know what? But this is a concern. Like especially if you're anywhere semi-public, But I think Apple's approach to this so far is really pushing the AR angle, and even immersion is one of those things that you kind of dial into, and only if you really, really need to and really, really want to. And it's like certain experiences, and they're really focused on couch-based experiences, which again was one of the criticisms of this 1.5 meters whatever thing, was that it seemed like Apple just wants you to sit on the couch. And like, well, okay, I mean, at least at first, because I think most people who they might want to buy this thing are probably not like gamers. They're not targeting gamers who want to like run around and do stuff. Maybe they should. I don't know, but I don't think that's what they're actually going after right now.
So here's the thing that I always have to remind myself about, like
the Wii was popular.
It was popular,
moving around and stuff. Yeah,
like the Vision Pro I mean, A, it's Pro, but then B, it's like basically beta. It's a beta hardware, right? It's even one can even argue it's alpha hardware.
It's like incredibly well-built alpha hardware from what I could tell from the photos and videos, but yeah.
Sure. But like, I don't think Apple truly knows what people are going to do with it, right?
No, we talked about that before. We were like, like the whole WWDC was like, what is this for? Like, Apple just seems to be shrugging, like, I don't know, you figure it out, developers.
And then I remind myself that it's an M2 computer on your head. And I remind myself that it's using window panes, it's using a lot of desktop metaphors as a starting point, right? Because like I think there's a transition period between how regular users are going to utilize this app or this platform.
Yeah.
And the value add is that you have unlimited amount of space to do all kinds of different things, right? There's a different type of interaction, but you need to sort of create a transition point from like what we're used to what it could be.
Although I agree with that. I would also say that like I don't think we're going to get rid of 2D planes for interaction of stuff because it's super useful. Like, I mean, that's why paper is still a thing and books and like it's as a way of interacting with lots of different types of information. I think we're still going to have windows. I mean, like you're still going to have flat panel stuff, but then you're going to expand upon that into more 3D space, which hopefully we'll have somebody knowledgeable about this later on a future podcast. Hopefully, fingers crossed, to talk about the 3D interaction space that's possible in spatial computing. But I think you're right. I think there's two things. Like one, I think I think you're not going to get rid of flat, 2D planes for useful computing. But you're right. I mean, the focus at first, I think, for this market is going to be: can I take an app that I have, or can I design an app that is at least partially a normal looking window app, and then I can kind of ease you into something more, spatial computing like, so you're not, just dropped into the middle of like, I don't know, some kind of immersive VR experience and then throw up.
Right. What?
just like you put it on, you're just immediately floating in space. You have no idea where up and down is. Yeah.
I'm glad that Apple says you have 2 hours and then go out and touch some grass and then come back.
Oh, is that what do they have a 2 hour time limit or a warning or something?
Oh, it's the battery.
The battery. Yeah. Okay. Unless you plug into the wall,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think like depending on like if it's a USB connection, right? Like if you can detach the battery, on the cable from the battery and then plug it into your Mac or your iPhone, I think then right the accessibility market is just going to explode with like these massive battery packs, so you can get as much juice out of one session as possible.
Oh yeah, Anchor is going to make a fortune.
Sure,
selling battery pack.
Yeah.
Although I'm still not sure. We're so far off of topic now, but I'm still not sure. Can the battery pack disconnect from the cable, or will I have to chain battery packs together or something weird stuff like that?
I don't know, Aaron. Do you know offhand, or?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like you're gonna have to get another battery pack that has that connector, that special magnetic locking.
Right. Yeah, it's that silly magnetic connector that's like. Or though it would be kind of funny if there was a way to charge the headset wirelessly, but I don't think they have that as an option, right? So I don't know. I mean, again, this is the version 0, right? As far as we can tell. I think it's telling that it's one of the things where they said you can take a lot of your iPad and iPhone apps by default will work in visionOS, right? So we're already saying here's the starting point from a transitionary point of view. Like even Apple's iPad apps are available in the Vision, like the ones that they want to have available in the visionOS SDK. I mean the simulator. You can kind of get access to them to see what that looks like and feels like. I'm gonna hope that by the time the actual visionOS Vision Pro comes out, they have transitioned all their apps to a visionOS version. But for now, you can kind of see how it looks as an iPad app in visionOS. So unless you specify otherwise, you can use your iPad or even your iPhone version of your apps on visionOS. It will just act like an iPad visionOS app, which means you're not getting the visual backgrounds and all the UI components that are native to a visionOS experience, whether it be the blurred glass window panes, the ornaments that kind of like pop out from the side or the bottom of, or the top or bottom of the window panes. Certainly none of the 3D experiences. And I think they're okay with that as again, this being like the starting point. So even if the user, whoever the app developers apps are not on the App Store day one as a visionOS app, you will still be able to have your apps available on the visionOS Mac App Store as an iPhone or Mac OS app, iPad app.
Indeed.
So, you don't necessarily have to be quote unquote a visionOS app day one. You're just not taking advantage of its niceties.
Yes, I think we should wrap up this discussion by saying like what do we want to try to do for next time, because I think we wanted to try to talk about some bad app ideas to finish it up.
Sure,
and
sure.
I think that'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. So for next time, hopefully we will actually be able to run all of these things in beta 4 or beta 2 if we download it again. And
beta 4 better be out by then.
I know.
This is horrible.
And so my goal will continue to be, and I did get like a file new and created an app, and so that at least ran. I need to try to like get PhotoKit and like I guess load an image and just try to put a filter on it, like put a ring on it, put a filter on it. That's all we want to do. See what it looks like in there. What were you trying to do, Kotaro?
One of the things that I didn't think too deeply about, and was when I was exploring the ARKit component, it's hard to do without an actual like physical device to test sort of like finger and hand detection, that kind of stuff.
Can't use an iPhone or camera.
I could use an iPhone for that, but then like I want to be working primarily in visionOS space, so that restricts me to the simulator. So I think I want to really, for this one, just explore, similar to you, Steve, just explore the UI components, try to get a feel for like what I can and cannot customize and what feels and looks good. So I might make a basic to-do list app or really explore.
You better just make your pickle jar as a to-do list, like the one screen from that.
Or honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, build a drawing engine. I think that's what I'll do. I want to test the
in a
drawing
week.
engine.
You're going to build a drawing engine in a week.
I'm cheating. I'm using PencilKit.
Okay, you're going to use PencilKit.
The PencilKit framework is there and has been demoed on that environment. So I kind of am curious about how that experience feels like. So I think I will do that, and I will actually build it as a package, for which then I can incorporate that for other particular projects later down.
Yeah, you have experience with PencilKit, so hopefully you can get something working. That would be cool. Maybe draw with your hand, or I guess something. Yeah. Or can you draw with your eyeballs? Just look. Probably not, because it doesn't give you.
So.
It doesn't give you the actual points like where you're looking. It just tells you what's highlighted.
That'd be a hilarious mess.
But that'd be hilarious. Everywhere you look.
I was like, I'll be like the dog looking at a squirrel, like squirrel, and then I'm like, my brush would go like off tilter.
Have you ever seen one of those videos where they like record someone's eye movements and they're reading a web page or something, and it's it's all over the place, so it wouldn't work. Yeah. So that's you, Kotaro. How about Aaron? What do you want to look at?
I don't know. I guess I'll see if I can get some of the ARKit physics stuff to work. But I don't know. I might have to wait for beta 4 because we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the same thing we were trying to do. We're trying to look at the standard UI component space. We're trying to look at like integration with existing kind of kits like PhotoKit or something like that. Or we're trying to look at PencilKit and trying to look at ARKit, and physics stuff we can, and look at the 4 main apps and really kind of just hack around with them.
I think one idea, we talked about sort of that bookshelf idea before the talk.
Are we transitioning to bad app ideas now?
We're at the point, yeah, but sure. I was thinking like basically if you're walking down a bookshelf and you're looking at the books, the rows of books, and you want to like do like text detection, right? To identify like what the title of the book is, for which then you can virtually like bring up the front cover, maybe using like Apple's iTunes API, because they do have an option where you can actually look up book information.
Oh, really? That's super useful for me.
Because that's in the App Store. You should be able to pull up like a book and like the cover page. I don't know about the metadata, what other metadata they have, but then you can like bring up the book.
Apple
and,
Books
like,
is so nice.
related.
It's so nice looking. I mean, I buy Kindle stuff for convenience and everything, but Apple's, if you haven't tried Books, that Books app, it's so nice. Everything looks so nice.
I use it. It's kind of funny because like I use it for like if I download a lot of PDFs, I'll store a lot of my PDF
so good for
like
that.
long form articles or white papers and stuff like that. Just such a nerd. Or
so am I. But the idea you had was the bookstore. Like you're walking around and you're wearing your goggles,
right?
Or you're using your phone for now. But like you're using your goggles and what you're looking at the spines of the books, or you're picking up a book from the shelf, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, the spines of the books, and then you can kind of like maybe what you could do is like if you hold in one position for long, because they have an option for long focus, and once you set it for long focus, maybe what you can do then is like have the cover like the text convert into like the cover image, and maybe like a metadata where you can like start swiping to see like
like the preview on Amazon's Kindle or something, where you can say like check out inside. You see a little bit, you see the cover, you see like a few little contents, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, even if you did something where you put a bit of text on the surface of something, or even like you point a text text in the screen and then just have your focus, like if it's on focus, like your mouse is over it, then you reveal a photo of an image of the cover using the iTunes API of the cover page, and then tap into it and then open up Safari to get to like the Amazon link. That's another way to do it too, is like using Amazon's API. I think they have something similar in that regard.
Yeah.
Where
I mean, this sounds most useful if we had like for real glasses, but even without that, it's still pretty useful if you're looking at your own stuff or or in a library.
Actually, I don't think you need it. You could do it where you just let's just say you do let's just say you like I don't know, the Mockingbird or 1984 or whatever, right? You can just say here's a text in, like you use it in Reality Composer Pro. You just put the text in there, and then have it so that when your mouse hovers on top after a long press, open up, do the text detection, right, using ARKit. Then open up a window pane with the cover page of the book and maybe like metadata related to that. And then if you tap on the cover page or whatever, it'll take you to Safari with an Amazon what is it? Referral link. What are those things called? You can get a couple cents for each link.
Well, first of all, this is
one of those referral links.
This is
make some money.
This is dangerously close to a good app idea. So like, it's probably already been done. There's probably already been some AR stuff. That doesn't matter. You can always do it again. But I like the idea of I've always liked the idea of AR being used in that respect, where you're bringing up some other contextual information or visualization based on a real world object. And a book is a great example. It's a great thing to do for that. You can get at least some kind of visual data from an API, like the book cover, the summary text, that kind of thing. I think that's good. I think there's something to work in there. And,
even if the book was to play into that idea and provide like a barcode or not a barcode, a QR code, right, on the book cover or something.
Well, they already have UPC codes you can look up stuff with.
Right. Oh, perfect. Or even inside the books, right, where like maybe certain pages have a QR code so you're reading a physical book and then you're looking at it.
I feel like
reason.
I feel like I've seen that somewhere before. I don't know,
right. But then it'll create a virtual map of the world and maybe
Yeah.
context around each of that part. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I'm not saying that's a good idea. I'm just saying
that's actually the easiest way of implementing it. I think you could train the model to recognize specific pages and stuff, but if you wanted like third parties to be able to add support easily, something like a small QR code would work because then it could tie it to a database. Right. But that's like too good of an idea. We need like terrible ideas for bad app idea section.
You want a terrible idea? I got a terrible idea.
Yeah, I want a terrible idea.
Oh, I think we talked about this before, right? A fart app?
a VR, or I mean a visionOS fart app?
Well, you just have somebody stick their butt out and then like virtual fart comes out of your
terrible.
butt. And you have like spatial sound where the fart just comes. We use the particle effects.
We could take the happy beam clouds and just recolor them.
Yeah, just like you're farting at the happy beams, and you instead of them being rainbows and sunshines, they just turn gray because they're so sad.
You're shooting beams of deodorant. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be kind of funny. The other thing is like using your hands to like do the kamehameha or like
of course.
Like your right hand is the ice beam, your left hand is the fire beam, and like somehow like you can do like a Legend of Zelda thing where you're like you're virtually.
That sounds fun though. That doesn't sound terrible. It sounds fun. We're actually getting too good with our ideas here.
This is the evergreen space that we have, right? Yeah, I'm like, Aaron, you must have some bad ideas.
Oh wait, what about the movie theater one we were talking about earlier, where we go to a movie theater?
That's a terrible idea.
I don't know if this is what you meant, but in my mind, when you were talking about something with movie theaters, in my mind, I imagined as a bad app idea, we're going to go to a movie theater with my visionOS on my head and my 2-hour battery pack, maybe another 2-hour battery pack in the other pocket, because movies are long now, and I'm going to sit there in the movie theater that I've like rented maybe, and instead of them playing the video up on the screen, I'm going to use my visionOS to experience a movie that I've already bought on iTunes, but I'm just going to do it inside the theater. Or maybe I can watch the
SharePlay that,
or I can SharePlay, or maybe you're at the theater, so this is how you can see the new releases in your local theater, but like IMAX quality. So you have to be there physically and buy a ticket, whatever, and to use it in their app, and then their app will show you in visionOS. So everybody's just sitting in the theater. It's like one of those silent dance concerts where they're just everybody's sitting there with their goggles on in the theater watching the movie that would normally be playing on the screen, but it's playing all in everybody's goggles through a SharePlay session. Now, that's a terrible idea.
So the SharePlay has a limitation. Actually, it was kind of funny and annoying at the same time. SharePlay has a limitation of like maybe up to 4 people you can share a session with.
That's okay. I don't have 4 friends. It's plenty big enough. So, you guys and like one other guy.
So you could theoretically, on the flip side, you could virtually have it so that the theater itself projects the movie, and you are watching through one of the what they call a 360 camera. I think that's what they call that, where you're virtually in this space, or it's a 180 camera, but basically like you get a 180 degree of motion or view. You're able to view things. Whatever Chris Thibe had, shout out to you, Chris, had shown that time, but it's streaming, and you're watching it live with all the physical people there, right? But you get center stage seating, so you can watch it. You can watch this movie live in a theater, right?
And get a good seat regardless.
Get a good seat regardless. You pay like $10.
Stop turning the bad ideas into good ones.
Oh, I'm sorry. Crap. AMC is like writing this down. That's kind of the intention. Like, so the idea is you have something that you want to provide. It's already a digital movie. You want people to come physically to your theater, but the movie theater experience is so awful that people will willingly bring $3,500 goggles and sit in a theater with them on to watch a movie. That's how bad the theater experience is. This actually sounds like a slightly plausible idea for an app. Actually, no, it's hilarious. It's
Fandango should get on this.
Here's a bad idea gone good. So going back to the original idea where you have the 180 camera, you could do a setting where you say, you know what, I don't want to hear anybody. I want the theater be a completely virtual theater, aka my true immersive space, and like nobody there, and just have the movie playing directly. I'm still paying my $10, and Amazon's going to get that 70% because Apple wants their 30 cut. But like, you could do something like that where you can you can virtually watch it in peace versus like actually having people show up at that time. Now the key part is like the difference between like doing like a 180 experience is like you actually have to show up at the time of the movie playing to get the live experience versus like doing a virtual one where like it's more like renting.
Wait, so so you're saying like you just
can have an
invented
option
iTunes. Did you just invent iTunes and Vision? Isn't that already a thing in visionOS? I think you just reinvented Apple's.
All right, you know, damn it.
iTunes.
You know what? Never mind. You know what? I should stop making these great ideas.
No, it's great for bad app ideas. But what makes a bad app idea here is the requirement that you take your really expensive headgear to a physical space to do something you could already do in the physical space for less money and effort. That's what makes it bad.
One idea you
go to a movie theater to watch a movie with your goggles on is a bad idea because you're already in a movie theater.
I mean, one of the things that I think I don't know how any iPad game that is like a tabletop style game. Yeah. Think of like a card battle game or something like that.
Yes, Yu-Gi-Oh! With visionOS.
Right. Probably would benefit from something like this. So I keep talking to Kenny about like, hey man, let's chat because like this idea that you've been talking about would work really well in visionOS.
Oh, he's a tabletop game he's thinking about?
No, but like it's an idea, right? Or like, or even a chess game. Like the default is
Warhammer is they're gonna make a Warhammer game for visionOS.
If they don't, they should.
I mean, come on. They have, that like, what's the company that runs Warhammer? What's it called? I don't remember. But they have all their digital assets for all their crazy characters, and there's a Warhammer store in my town, okay? And if you go in there, they have a big diorama setup, I guess that's what we call it. Yeah. And I'm like, that is so cool. I'm not into Warhammer, but it's so cool. Now, I mean, that's just so obvious what they're going to do that. They're going to make an app. If they don't, they'd be foolish because all the Warhammer people love Warhammer, and why not have a virtual one? Or take your actual characters. Everybody has their hand-painted characters, and then you could just have the most elaborate, awesome AR overlay for your tabletop battles.
I mean, you could even
do
it.
Now I'm coming up with good ideas.
Oh, stop it.
Or mediocre ideas.
All right, come on, Aaron. Save us from ourselves.
Yeah, we need like a terrible idea. Come on, we need a terrible idea, Aaron, to finish this up. Like something truly awful.
I think you mentioned all the ideas I had already. I don't think there's any other good ones.
I don't want a good one. I want a bad one.
Well, good.
What a terrible idea.
All right, so let me think about this for a second here. We joked about the idea of like the virtual telegram, right? Of, like,
I like that. No, that's actually great.
Writing a hand-drawn note using PencilKit, folding it virtually, and then throwing it like almost like turning it into a paper plane, and then throwing it through a portal to send to your colleague. And I think we were joking like it was supposed to be like
it's take Jira. Real time. Jira. But I like this. Just the virtual telegram thing again to make this a truly bad idea because that's kind of fun. Like you could have like the owl from Harry Potter, or whatever. But no, you throw it through the portal, and then depending on where your friend is physically in the world, it has to take that amount of time, like simulated time. Like if I was actually the estimated speed of a paper airplane flying in a direct line to my friend in like another town, like it won't get there until that time has elapsed. That is a terrible idea because we got to make it realistic. You see, realistic.
I agree.
Or if you have an owl, you start calculating like how fast can an owl fly.
We should even have we should have like a live activity. Of like how long it's going to take.
It's tracking your telegram in real time. Like it's. I mean, now that is a bad idea. I love it.
And the fact that you get it and it just says, "Hey."
The people who made the app Hey should do that. They should come back and make a visionOS app called visionOS Hey. That's literally what it does. It just says Hey, but it takes real time to get there.
Now I think about it, maybe we don't have a lot of time for this one, but next time we should just talk about like what can we imagine, what bad app ideas we can imagine big corporations doing and putting on visionOS. Because what they're all going to do is take their app and
They're gonna take
basically
Jira. They're gonna make Jira.
slap it on visionOS. So like, what is the worst idea we can come up with how they would implement that idea?
Let's do it next
and almost,
time.
And almost be horrified to find out they actually did it.
I think we should make this a regular or semi-regular segment where we just end it with bad app ideas, and we just go to. I think this. So next time, bad corporate app ideas.
Bad corporate app ideas. Yeah. All right. Great. I'm down. Next time.
Okay.
So I guess we're going to wrap it up. But that's all we have for today. You can learn more about Philly Cocoa at phillycocoa.org. There you'll find links to our Slack group, meetup schedule, and contact info. And if you're feeling generous, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcast platform of choice is. And share us with all your developer friends. And one more thing. We're going back to me being lazy again. So we're going to do another non-sponsor sponsorship. But it'll be the same sponsor as before, which is a good friend at AppJohns LLC called Clipdish. GetClipdish.com is the website to go to find this wonderful app. The tagline is "Stop scrolling and start cooking." This app allows you to collect and organize all your recipes. It'll allow you to build up your grocery list. And it will provide suggestions, I believe, for new dishes based on the Clipdish community. So shout out to...
Don't forget the AI chef feature they added.
Did they add that? The new hotness? Is that out of beta?
I don't know if it's out of beta, but it was in the app last time I used it.
I feel like we should know this. That's so sad. But considering that it's a non-sponsor sponsor, it's okay for us to be sloppy.
No, but there was an AI chef feature, so you could chat GPT up your this virtual chef. You could ask questions and get like recipes and suggestions and stuff, and it works pretty well.
Yes, so it is on the iPhone and iPad, so you can download it on the App Store. So shout out to you, Matt, and AppJohns LLC.
Yep.
And
not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
No,
you can find them.
Literally not a sponsor. Literally not a sponsor.
Literally not a
just
sponsor.
Promoting them because we like them and they're part of the community.
Yes.
Just to be clear.
So you can find them at getclipdish.com.
I love it. Like not a sponsor. Like what is that?
Not
mean?
a sponsor. What does that mean? All right. Well, until next
philosophical discussions here.
Until we get sued or get in trouble. But in any case, shout out to you. Getclipdish.com.
Yeah.
Till next time, good luck on your own developer journey. We will cheer for you always. You want a terrible idea? I got a terrible idea for you. A fart app? Well, you just have somebody stick their butt out and then like virtual fart comes out and you have like spatial sound where the fart just comes. We use the particle effects.